Hello twin flames, welcome to my channel and welcome to a daily check-in. So today is going to be a classic read. We'll take a look at the energies of each of the twin collectives and then we'll see what the additional question is and also what is happening in connection. And today the third question is actually going to be common for both because it's going to be about the dynamic. What is happening in the dynamic? What do you need to know? What can we learn from this? But before we start, I will take a card for each of the twins from the Angel Therapy deck, which is going to give us some piece of advice and some clarity. And it's interesting, I was just pre-shuffling and it's got the Twin Flame card at the bottom of the deck. So if anyone watching was wondering, was doubting whether you are a twin, this is your confirmation that yes, you are. I'm glad to see you guys. Thank you for joining today. It's the end of the month, so that can only mean one thing. I'm gonna start posting August horoscopes very soon. I have a very cool place in mind for recording those videos, at least some of them. We'll see how many I will master, but yeah. Definitely if you're new to the channel, then make sure you hit the subscribe button because you wouldn't want to miss it. I do horoscopes for each zodiac sign on a monthly basis, and this is the week when I'm gonna be posting them. It's about love, it's about career and general guidance, so you don't want to miss your guidance for the month of August. With all that said, let's see what we have for divine. And of course, if you're completely new, you can also check out the description box with all the different services and different ways to engage with me. Wow, feminines, you got the heart chakra message today. The answer that you seek is in your heart right now. Be open to giving and receiving love. And of course, it doesn't only mean your romantic partnership, it means with anyone and everyone, including yourself, including nature, friendships, hardships. Like some relationships are not. So I'm also talking about relating to people who you, as long as you are concerned, they're not really your friends. Somehow there's some negativity between you, but there's always space for compassion and for showing love in that situation as well. Again, to yourself and to other people involved. For masculines, we see a law of attraction. Oh, I love this. Relationships and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. Interesting. And our brain is still usually clinging to the old, right? Because that's familiar, that's what served us. Maybe it wasn't ideal, but at least it worked, right? This new thing is like, ooh, I'm not sure about that kind of vibe, but that's where the growth is. So it's important to remind yourself about it and not to be afraid to go there. And as you could already understand, for those who are the regulars, I've got different decks this week, and yeah, I was able to find some of my other decks. You gotta try it. So that means that we got a new deck or a different deck for the main read as well, and this is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. So let's see what we have today for our Twin Flame Collective. Bottom of the deck, Nine of Wands. To me, this particular Nine of Wands is actually, Nine of Wands is usually the idea behind it is that, the fear is in your head, and somewhere it's not like there's no issue in real life, or it's not really stopping you from anything. This is just in your head. You've created a barrier for yourself. In this one, it's like even more so of like self-inflicted wounds here. You see like all these patches on her sweater from the rose. She basically cut herself as those thorns, and now is patching them back. But it's like a lot of the wounding that happens to us is our perception, and it is a bit of maybe a cruel reminder, but it is true. right? And I find myself still sometimes going into the space of, this person has wronged me. How could they have done something like da 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 da, right? And I'm like, there's a good chance they had no idea that I would take it this way, because they don't have that context, right? To them, it's not such a big deal, and it's important part to admit to yourself, even though it could be difficult to admit, because it seems so obvious that this is, they would know that this would hurt my feelings or something like that, right? And now I realize that I haven't actually taken the second deck out. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna lay out my second cards are gonna be from the same deck. And I'm gonna work with this one there today. Improvise. But I do have a second deck, and that's also gonna be a different one. So definitely tune in this week for more surprises. More decks, more surprises. So, feminines, you've got the High Priestess clarified by 8 of Wands. Very interesting. So, essentially, this is like, how do you communicate into the world who you are? You are the High Priestess, right? That's the quintessential part of actually feminine nature, but more even so a light worker, a twin flame in the in the overall kind of like bigger mission and purpose phase, right? Where you have the knowledge, or you are the channel, and you are sharing of yourself with the world, right? How do you communicate about who you are, what your gifts are, what do you have to offer, right? As a person, as a professional, everything, every layer. And some of it may not seem important, but it actually is. And you won't find out until you actually put it out there into the world. So what are you doing to put yourself out there and to share of who you are and what your experience is with the world? Masculines, you've got 7 of Cups clarified by 2 of Cups. Masculines understand that they have so many things that they can pour their energy into right now, right? And they all have their merits to an extent, right? It's not a very easy decision because there is reasoning for focusing on any of them. But what masculines are realizing now, that what they actually want is someone, it's like a kindred spirit, someone who can connect to them on that soulful level, who can support what they're going through, who would understand what they're going through. And so there is this search, this brainstorm of how do I get to that? Yeah, it's not ideal, maybe not the best way to do it, but at least masculines are ready to explore their options, and that's what's important, because we don't necessarily know the way to get to where we want to be, right? But it's important to set intention, and it's important to be ready to experiment and go through trial and error. Additional question for today. 4 of Wands clarified by the Fool. I love this so much. I'm hearing the Sun, I'm a fool for you. So for some of you, it may have some additional messages, so listen to the Sun. Could be called fool for you, something like that. I think they used it in the latest season of the morning show on Apple TV Plus. For those who are in States and who have Apple TV Plus, yes, this was like one of the songs. But anyway, so what kind of freedom and innovation does this connection introduce for you? Where are you finding yourself open to new spaces, places, energies, activities that you weren't used to before? Fool is connected to the Aquarius energy, which is actually about innovation, trying something new that didn't exist before. It's not about following the rules, it's about creating them. Right? So how does this connection help us free our inner self and try something new and be more adventurous? For feminines, we have King of Swords clarified by the Star. It helps us put our practical and analytical knowledge to the space of healing and lighting that light for others. Lighting that light for others, right? Like if you imagine a torch or even like a lamp, you know, like that you are carrying, and you light it up with your energy, and it's creating path, hope, vision for others, maybe in their interpretation, right? So like helps you combine the analytical skills with something very intuitive and healing for the soul. What do masculines need to know about this? Seven of Pentacles clarified by Ace of Cups. Another 7 for masculine. Masculines are in the planning mode today in this reading. But this is wonderful. I like this Ace of Cups because they're creating a plan for, like, with loving energy in mind. It's like, I don't just want to check the boxes or scratch things off my to-do list. You know, I want to feel good while I'm doing it and when I'm sitting in the result, you know? That it's not just for the sake of impressing someone or, you know, even impressing my own ego. It's about creating something loving that will feed my soul and will communicate this love to others. And now finally, the third question was about the connection. What do we need to know about what's going on in the dynamic? What can we learn from it? And how do we move to union? We have Temperance and the Devil. It's cards 14 and 15 in the major arcana. Very interesting. Also, the combination of colors almost looks like yin yang, but with white and red. This is white with a little bit of red. This is red with a little bit of white. Very interesting juxtaposition of the two energies. And the truth is that I was just talking to a client this morning about it. By the way, I do coaching, so hit me up in an email or book a session, a free discovery session with me through the calendar link in the description box, and we can talk more about this. But yeah, basically we're talking about this yin-yang juxtaposition and the balance, finding balance between action and inaction. And temperance is usually about inaction if we kind of roughly, strictly try to label it as one or the other. And sometimes this inaction takes us to the place where we don't feel like taking action anymore, right? It feels like it becomes almost like self-indulgence, or we get into the space where we find our comfort and we're like, well, actually I'm fine here now. I'm just gonna stay where I am. I don't want to mess with what I already have. So it can take a more, I don't want to say toxic, but kind of unhealthy and stale side to it. So this connection, what it does, it helps you move out of that space of complacency or, you know, the status quo that doesn't really serve you anymore. It always stimulates you to go for something else while still creating the balance between action and inaction. It's like you can't just sit still and stay where you are. It's pretty much impossible. You're just gonna go deeper into the unhealthy patterns, but those karmic cycles are gonna be almost like swirling you like in a washing machine and spit you out, and you're still gonna have to make some changes one way or the other. It's not the path I would recommend, but that's what sometimes happens, right? That's what happens to masculines, by the way, a lot of times, for those who are not aware, who haven't gone through their awakening yet. And for them, it still feels like they can just power through. They can white knuckle it, right? And they keep going through the machine until they're out of breath. And then it's like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. Gotta try something else. Is there something else? Right? And that's where that hope and that light comes in, hopefully. A lot of times for them, it looks like a feminine figure because that's their divine feminine. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope this was useful. Definitely subscribe for the horoscopes, the August horoscopes that are coming up very, very soon. We also have Lionsgate coming up at August 8. that's happening really soon, so like next Friday basically. I hope that you are gonna join me for those as well. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to ask any specific questions in this type of readings, and otherwise I love you guys. Please subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Bye.